If you have dreams of starting a D&D campaign and actually finishing it, well, I've got news for you. Watch this video to its end, and I can guarantee you'll be able to do it. You'll have no better video than this one right here that can inform you on every single thing you need. And if after a week or so of you trying to use everything I gave you to make a campaign and it doesn't work, come back to my video, dislike it, leave a comment saying I suck, feel absolutely free to do so. But if any of this is useful to you, which I can guarantee you that it will be, like the video, comment, subscribe if you want to do me the pleasure, and let's get right into it. So to begin, we need the foundations of a D&D campaign, and the foundations aren't the maps, it's not even the module, it's not even the setting. The foundation is the DM and the players. We've got you, so we've got the DM set up, but we need the players. So, first things first, how do we get them? There's some immediate pitfalls that can be made by new DMs, and these are ones we are going to avoid. One of these being looking for group posts. This is not wise. Don't go on Roll20 and search for some strangers to play with. No, that is not the player base you want. Some players who don't know, haven't spent a long time playing with, will ghost the game. They'll just completely disappear if they don't like certain things about it. And that is not how we end a campaign. That's how a campaign sinks before it even gets a chance to float. Instead, what we do is we contact our friends, the fellows we play, I don't know, Call of Duty with or something. We get those people who we always play with at a consistent time, and then, voila, we've got our player base. Let's say, for instance, you play Rainbow Six Siege with some friends of yours every night. What you can do is know that you have that consistent time you all play together, so your schedules are already aligned to begin with. This allows you to avoid scheduling issues, which is one of the main reasons why most people can't even play D&D. And I can promise you, by the way, after the release of Baldur's Gate 3, D&D is in the mainstream. You might not expect people you play Call of Duty with to be interested in Dungeons & Dragons, but if you offer it to them, chances are they'll be more than interested. They'll be excited to be in your game. Now that we have the foundation set up, we've got our players, we need to choose the platform. Now this is a contentious subject because there's a choice that needs to be made. Do we host D&D in person or virtually? Now this is one of the biggest debates in all of D&D as to which one is better. There's the folks who think that the classic route is the pinnacle way to play. That it is how D&D started, and it's how D&D should keep moving forward. And then there's a whole host of new people to the hobby who mainly do it virtually, which was extremely useful during the pandemic. Where do I sit on this? Personally, from my experience, the only time an in-person campaign will see more than a few sessions through before ending prematurely. In its infancy, you need players who are close by with free schedules who are all eager to play D&D. On top of that, you need a setting to play D&D in, so your house or somewhere in general you can all gather up at the same time and play. And on top of this, your sessions will require substantially larger prep, so you need to be experienced in prepping sessions and have all of the resources to do so. So paper, a DM screen, a way to print out character sheets, a way to print out maps. In general, just a place to actually do D&D, so table, chairs, all of these things combined with the simple fact that getting people together can be far more difficult a few weeks in, makes in-person games not something I would recommend for your first D&D campaign. If you want your campaign to end, bear with me, and I'll show you how to make an absolutely amazing virtual game, to the point where it will seem as if your games are to the scale of many players online who host D&D games and stream them virtually, which I'm sure you've probably seen some clips of. Now, doing this does require one simple requirement though. You need decent PCs or laptops. My suggestion for the platform would be Roll20. There is a monthly subscription, but it is oftentimes on sale, so you can likely grab a good sale or a good promo code to get half off or something like that. That's what I did personally, to where I think each month is pretty sure around $3 or so. Regardless though, if your players are really eager to play and you simply don't have the financial means of doing so, I'm certain that they'll chip in. But now that we have our foundations and the platform set up, we also need to make one vital choice after all of these: the campaign. Do you do a homebrew campaign, or do you do one of the official Wizards of the Coast campaigns, or one of the associated third-party modules? Now, thinking on it, I think this is actually more contentious than virtual versus in-person games, as this is a heated debate. Some people believe that the Wizards of the Coast official modules are just absolutely trash. You shouldn't even use them whatsoever, because they're just many flaws. Meanwhile, for homebrew, the general consensus is actually pretty good towards homebrew. Most people encourage the creativity of DMs, exploring and making their own worlds, and really letting them embrace the hobby. Now, here's the thing. I myself have done homebrew before. In fact, I'm building a homebrew world for one of my games in the future right now. But if you are just starting out and you want to finish some campaigns, use some of the official modules. There's a site I'm going to put in the description, which is called 5e Tools. It has all of the modules for free on there, including all of the maps. And on top of that, on that very same site, you'll be able to find full class listings of each and every class and each and every subclass, along with all of their spells. With that, and with the character sheet on Roll20, which by the way, use the 2014 one, it's just better structured, you'll be able to have all that D&D has to offer at your fingertips. Your players can choose whatever classes and subclasses their hearts desire and that you allow them to play, while you get to choose from all of the campaigns which one you'll be starting with. You get all that from the low price that you paid of watching this video. And trust me, there's more to come. Now that we've got the foundation, the platform, and we've got the type of campaign we're going to be doing, what campaign would I personally suggest you play? Well, my best recommendation would be one that has battle maps. Battle maps, battle maps, battle maps. These are the most important thing for a new DM starting out. If you do not have these for a campaign you want to do, it will be legitimately 10 times harder to run that campaign. So, what we're going to want to do is choose one that has battle maps set out for you to begin with. So any of the official ones that are at least somewhat popular. This is because the battle maps that we'll be using aren't actually the maps that are going to be on 5e Tools or, say, on D&D Beyond, if you manage to buy one of the books there. What we'll be using are battle maps from Patreons, mainly free Patreons, or rather cheap ones. Here on your screen now is a list of a huge amount of battle map Patreons that are amazing. The people here make breathtaking looking battle maps, and while some of them are paid subscriptions, even some of the paid subscription have free alternatives, which all will be extremely useful to making your players feel thoroughly immersed in the game and the world itself. 3 campaigns immediately come to mind as good ones to start out with. The first one would be Waterdeep Dragon Heist. This is a level 1 to 5 adventure, but one I can guarantee you'll probably raise higher due to the sheer amount of enemies in the campaign and the difficulty that your players will be finding in facing these enemies. There are plenty of battle maps, and in fact, I would highly suggest the Patreon of Teach Maps. Teach makes amazing maps for Waterdeep, and it's a relatively low subscription cost of, I believe, $3 a month. And even if you don't want to pay a subscription, there are plenty of Waterdeep maps out there for this campaign that are all free to use. My second campaign would be Curse of Strahd. Now, Curse of Strahd is a campaign that if you want, you don't need to pay a penny for whatsoever. It is the most played campaign in all of 5th edition, and therefore there are countless battle maps out there. While Waterdeep Dragon Heist is more of an urban setting where you're fighting criminals, or perhaps compatriots if you're more of an evil or neutral party, Curse of Strahd instead is the type of campaign which is rather common in 5th edition, where you are taken away from the regular world of Faerun and planted into a different region, different realm entirely. It makes for a very fun adventure. For my third suggestion, it is not so much as me advocating for some campaigns, but me rather telling you not to do them. Descent to Avernus is a campaign with the name Baldur's Gate attached to it. It is also the worst campaign in 5th edition. The enemies are unbalanced, the story is hardly coherent, and during the latter half, it is completely full of fetch quests. Once you have finished a campaign or two, and you feel qualified as an experienced DM, then maybe run Descent to Avernus. But until then, do not touch this. But speaking on things though, there's one question when it comes to these campaigns. Should you stay strictly by the book to them? The answer is that no, you should not. You should use these books as inspiration and a baseline for the campaign. But if you want to make any change whatsoever, feel free. Becoming a good DM is all about failing at first. When I think back to many of my own changes and things I didn't change from modules, there's plenty of failures I made early on. Because of that, though, I have become a better DM. In one of my early campaigns, I threw a Death Knight at a party who was also buffed and had legendary actions up the wazoo, while they were also fighting a Rakshasa, high-level fiend. While I had my reasons for it, it was a bad thing to do, and so I learned from it. So yes, take these campaigns, grab Curse of Strahd, grab Waterdeep, but change them. For instance, Waterdeep suggests that you choose 1 out of 4 villains. For my game, I used all 4, and while it made for a hectic campaign, it made for a unforgettable campaign. But if I stayed true to the book, it would have been over before it even managed to start to get some sparks. Now, we have a lot of things set up now, though. We've got the platform, we got the foundations, everything, right? There's one other thing we need to do, and that's presentation. Personally, what I believe to be my expertise when it comes to DMing. Some people do voices better than I do. Some people do combat better than I do. But presentation, that is my forte. This is the average party of mine, how they look. You may notice some things are strange. Noticeably, they all seem to have 0 HP. Are they all dying? No. When it comes to Roll20, the best thing to do when it comes to calculating HP is to do a wound system. So instead of someone having 60 out of 60 HP points at their highest, do a wound system. Have it be 0, and if they take 5 damage, they have 5 wounds. It goes up to 60. Do that, and not only will it be slightly easier for you math-wise when calculating a bunch of math, but you'll be able to see, or rather your players will be able to see, a red bar at the very bottom of enemies and allies alike increase the more that they're damaged. Doing this will allow the players to get a better idea of how durable their foes are, and show that their attacks actually mean something. See, I want to speak on something real quick. In physical games, there are no indicators of how much you damage an enemy. A DM can describe how much they damage, sure, and maybe even say that they're bloodied or in critical condition, but beyond that, there's no actual visual indicator. Yet, online, via Roll20, you can see an indicator, and on top of that, there is the topic of rolling. When the DM rolls something, everyone sees it. And when the players roll something, everyone sees it. It is completely transparent, increasing the trust between everyone at the table. I've seen someone roll 4 crits in a row, and want to know who did? One of my NPC enemies. In an actual table where I didn't show my rolls, even if my friends trusted me with their hearts and souls. 4 crits in a row. Those are some odds. Yet, via Roll20, with all of the rolls shown to everybody, that actually grants them some knowledge. That puts any worry that they may have that I am fudging rolls at ease. And who can't love it when everyone at the same time sees another player roll natural 20 as they cheer, or, by preference, when an enemy rolls a natural 20 and they all scream. That is the glory of virtual D&D. Now, we haven't actually addressed any contentious subjects lately. Well, I guess my DM showing their roles is one, but here's another one. Character art. How will you do it? Well, there's a couple routes. First, you can go the simple route of going online and finding someone's art and taking it and using it as your own. Alternatively, you could simply pay for it, which will be rather expensive. But there's also the option of AI art. Now, AI art, when it comes to Wizards of the Coast, when it comes to corporations, movies, shows, and etc., using it, of course, that's bad. People lose jobs. But for D&D games, I don't think there's any harm to it. I don't know exactly the consensus around it in D&D games, but I'm pretty sure most people are fine with it, really. If you wanted to, you could use Midjourney, but Midjourney is rather expensive. Personally, I would suggest if you want to do character portraits, pay for a $10 subscription to Midjourney for 1 month and get the images for all the characters and any important NPCs. But if you want every single NPC, every single character in your world, then you could pay for the $30 option. But that is very expensive. I would not do it personally unless your players really wanted to do it as well and chipped in. That's basically what I did for this last month. I bought Midjourney, the $30 option, which grants you basically unlimited art for NPCs and characters, and then I let my players use it for a long while. And my players turned DMs as well, and they loved it. And it's ending soon. And I said I simply just cannot afford to continue it, when one of my fellow DMs said they'll go ahead and pay for it. That's the key to these sorts of things. You can enhance the game as long as you all work together on it and all chip in. Now, of course, some people can't, and that's completely fine. In fact, if no one can chip in, and you personally can't afford it, you can just find images online for all the NPCs and characters. That's what I did for a very, very long time, and it was fine. So now you have the battle maps you need, you have the campaigns, you have access to all of the D&D content for characters, classes, and monsters, and you have a good platform to host it all on, and know precisely who you want as your players. Using all of these will allow you to finish a campaign. It's that simple. But know this, if you stick to this formula, I can guarantee things will move swimmingly. There's some stuff you don't need. You don't need any of the AI stuff. You don't need to pay for any maps. You could frankly do all of this without even paying a dime. But should you deviate from this formula, such as instead of doing an official module, doing a homebrew module of your own creation, that's when cracks begin to appear, and everything will collapse. And unless you have done this before, unless you have finished several different campaigns, you will not be able to keep the campaign floating for a long period of time. For instance, let's say, instead of doing Curse of Strahd or Waterdeep, you do that homebrew campaign. completely of your own creation. That means you need to find stat blocks for monsters and balance them accordingly to your party so you don't accidentally TPK your party very early on during a fight you didn't actually want to be that difficult. You have to find battle maps online that actually suit with what you're going for each individual area with this combat, and on top of all of that, you need to prep each session substantially longer because you have to create the story and create the world and create everything to the point where your campaign will likely, and I mean this honestly, it will likely fizzle out. There's a voice in my head that says I should not be saying this in this video. I should instead be saying, oh, do whatever you want. Feel free. D&D is an amazing game, and no matter what you do, you'll be successful. But I want to be truthful in this video, even if it may get me some dislikes. I want to speak as a DM to future DMs. Don't stray from this formula I've given you. Use it as a test. If you can do all of this and end a campaign, then absolutely go beyond this formula I've given you. Make your own world, make your own battle maps, do everything. But don't get too overconfident. If you're wanting to be a DM, you're already creative. That's not in dispute. You're already hardworking. It takes a lot of effort to be a DM, but don't overwork yourself. Using an official campaign, using battle maps other people have made, all of this isn't some easy alternative. You aren't slacking off by doing so. There's a sentiment around doing all of this that you're a lazy DM. If you don't create every little nook and cranny of your world, and every single quest is original, with no inspirations from other sources or books. But this sentiment's wrong, and I hope that you take everything I've told you in this video and follow through to making an amazing campaign, to grabbing one of these modules and making it your own. Please come back to this video and comment on how well things went. I'm eager to hear it. And do check out my other videos and my future ones for more DM advice given to you by a DM for DMs.